Hello, relatives, aunties, uncles, nieces, nephews, and all the white folks who took one 23andMe test and found out they're 1% indigenous and now we're cousins. How's it going, cousin? Oh. Today's question is a big one. What is blood quantum? And like everything in Native country, the answer is complicated. And with this one specifically, it is deeply colonial. So sit back, relax, and light your Spencer's Sage Smudge Kit and enjoy this episode of Baby Questions for White People.
Baby questions for white people. Ask it soft and let it go.
Let's get this out of the way first. Blood quantum is not traditional. It didn't come from our ancestors, our ceremonies, our kinship systems, or our ways of knowing. It came from the US government. The same people who brought you smallpox blankets, broken treaties, and the idea that fractions could somehow measure identity. Blood quantum was created as a colonial tool in the 1700s and 1800s to classify Native people by how Indian they were on paper. Why? Well, because if you can shrink a population on paper, you can shrink your treaty obligations, your land responsibilities, and your legal accountability. It was literally designed as a slow burn erasure strategy, a bureaucratic countdown clock on the indigenous existence. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, the Bureau of Indian Affairs was out here assigning blood quantum like they were passing out Pokemon cards.
I wanna be the very best.
Through census rolls, allotment documents, tribal lists, all filled out by non-native officials who couldn't pronounce our names but somehow felt qualified to calculate our identity in fractions. Then came the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, when tribes were pressured to adopt written constitutions and membership rules that included blood quantum. So now you've got nations forced to use a system that was never ours, measuring identity with math instead of kinship, culture, identity, community, or lived connection. Under this system, someone labeled full blood as 4/4, their kids became a half, and then 1/4, and then 1/8. Like, colonial turned this into a fraction-based disappearing act. And because every tribe sets its own enrollment standards, you can have one nation requiring 1/2, another requiring 1/4, and another using lineal descent. Like, if you descend from us, you're us. And here's the kicker. Blood quantum has no biological basis. Humans don't pass down ancestry in perfect little slices like pizza. The records were inaccurate. The math was made up, and the whole system was designed to make fewer Native people exist on paper over time. That's why so many people call it paper genocide. Meanwhile, you could have someone raised in their community, speaking their language, dancing at ceremonies, knowing their clan, living their culture, and still be told they don't have enough blood to be legally recognized. That's not tradition. That's colonial math doing exactly what it was designed to do. Some nations are moving away from blood quantum and back towards lineal descent, which is how many of our ancestors understood belonging. If you come from us, you're one of us. The Cherokee Nation is a well-known example of this, where citizenship is based on documented ancestry, not fractions. And if you really want to understand how deep this goes, how blood quantum was designed as a colonial tool, how it still functions as paper genocide, and how it's being used right now to erase indigenous identity on paper while families are still very much alive, then you need to watch the movie You're No Indian. The film breaks it all down. How enrollment and disenrollment is weaponized, how it's tied to history and paper genocide, and how it's being used today to disenroll Native people from their own nations, sometimes wiping out entire families in one generation. If you want to see the real world impact, the politics, the manipulation, the loopholes, the harm, and the people fighting back, this film lays it out with receipts, interviews, and lived experience. So if you're ready to learn more about why blood quantum is wrong, colonial, and still hurting our communities, go watch the movie. Again, You're No Indian. It's not just a documentary, it's a wake-up call. And so I hope this helps. That's what blood quantum is. And remember, follow You're No Indian on socials and stay tuned for another episode of Baby Questions for White People.
Baby questions for white people. Ask it soft and let it go.